Hello, my name is Mike Arnold, and I'm making another in a series of videos. This one is about President Obama. And the reason I'm making it is because I want people to think twice about supporting another puppet in the White House, Hillary Clinton. And that's what President Obama has been, a puppet. And I'm going to explain how as quickly as I can. All right, the first and probably the most egregious matter is regime change that's occurred under President Obama. There have been three: Libya with the assassination and the brutal murder, I should say, of Gaddafi, and the civil war that's left the power vacuum in Libya. The attempted regime change of President Assad in Syria, and the regime change in Ukraine, facilitated by that phone call that was illegally taped of Assistant Secretary of State for European Affairs, Victoria Nuland. So three regime change actions that have left the world in a worse place and the United States in a much worse place than it was before. Okay, next, suspicious terror attacks. The worst of those, well, there's been San Bernardino, Orlando, and Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook is believed to have been done for gun control. There's been gun control legislation that's been proposed after Sandy Hook, and it's very suspicious. And the other two are suspicious, but Sandy Hook is really something that needs to be looked at. And I suggest that you check out three sources of information for that. One is a documentary called We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook. Another is Unraveling Sandy Hook. And the third is anything having to do with Mr. Wolfgang Halbig's work, Halbig. And he did a lot of work trying to get Freedom of Information Act information about that, and he was blocked in many ways. All right, support for Israel. And this is important because neocons of PNAC, the Project for the New American Century, and Zionists in the United States and Israel are believed to be the true perpetrators of 9/11. If you believe that the official story of 9/11 is lies, and you want to know who did it and why, well, that's the who. And you'll have to look into that more because I'm going to try to keep this short. President Obama didn't want to release the 28 pages that were taken out from public view of the joint inquiry into the events of 9/11. And we all know that Saudi Arabia was implicated in those 28 pages. But maybe there's more to it than that, and that's something to look into. And why did he not want to release those 28 pages anyway? That's something that should be questioned. But back to Israel. The USS Liberty was a U.S. ship in international waters that was attacked in 1967 during the Six-Day War. And 34 of our military were killed, 171 wounded. And I urge anyone unfamiliar with that to look into that. We give Israel billions of dollars a year, over $3 billion a year in financial and military assistance. That's taxpayer dollars. And yet there's no money to fix infrastructure, highways, roads, bridges, and water pipes, such as those in Flint. All right. The killing of Osama bin Laden, May 2nd, 2011. According to Dr. Steve Piesnik, you could find his information on patriotsquestion911.com. That's patriotsquestion911.com. Look up Steve Piesnik, Piezzenik. According to him, Osama bin Laden was dead in December 2001. So So much for the killing of Osama bin Laden. I don't know who the Navy SEALs killed and then threw overboard in a burial at sea, but doesn't look like it was Osama bin Laden. All right, very serious allegations here, very serious things here. NDAA 2012, Section 1021. NDAA is National Defense Authorization Act, and it occurs every year to fund the defense. All right, so this is the indefinite detention of anyone suspected of being associated with terrorism. Now, the key words there are suspected and being associated with. So that's very loosely written, and that's Big Brother at the doorstep, looking over your shoulder. This is not good. And Chris Hedges and other journalists filed a lawsuit against that, and President Obama fought back very vehemently, and they won. The president won. We have indefinite detention of anyone being suspected of being associated with terrorism. So Chris Hedges' concern was that if he interviews somebody, is that being associated with terrorism? All right, NDAA 2013 and subsequent legislation made it legal for the U.S. to propagate propaganda, as long as it's to a foreign audience. But, you know, mainstream media includes a foreign audience. So we now have the legalization of propaganda. You can't sue them for lying because it's legal. It's absurd. And all right, First Lady Michelle Obama planted a garden at the White House, and I would like to know if she used organic seeds or GMO seeds. I'd be very curious about that. Did the Obamas advocate GMO labeling, or did they fight against it? No, they did not advocate GMO labeling. We know that. And we learned from the WikiLeaks scandal that Hillary Clinton opposed GMO labeling because she thought it would give an advantage to her opponent, Bernie Sanders. So there you go. That's the moral standards of Hillary Clinton. We all know about Crooked Hillary's emails. She had a private server set up in her basement so that it would not be subject to Freedom of Information Act requests, amongst other possibilities. That's one possible reason, very, very possible reason. She sold access and weapons or weapons to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and anybody else willing to do pay-to-play politics with the Clintons through the Clinton Foundation. Now it appears that President Obama corresponded with his Secretary of State, which only makes sense, through this private server that she had in the basement that's not subject to Freedom of Information Act requests. So is that why FBI Director Comey and Attorney General Lynch made it, refused to indict Hillary Clinton? Or even take away her privileges of handling classified information that common sense would say would be called for? Did President Obama call for a new, honest investigation into 9/11? No, he did not. Did he bring back Glass-Steagall to protect consumers from Wall Street gambling with savings and pensions money? No, he did not. Did President Obama do anything about GMOs, fluoride, geoengineering, and big pharma poisoning our air, food, water, and medicine? No, he did not help us at all. And yet he has this high approval rating. Did he fix the infrastructure of the country? Water pipes, bridges, roads? No, he did not. So this 70% approval rating is really undeserved. And I urge everyone to take another look and do some research about President Obama and his puppeteering for the puppet masters. Hillary for Prison 2016. Thank you very much.